Yes, it's true. Ireland is paying you 84,000 euros to either move to Ireland or invest in Ireland. And if you are looking to either make a move in Ireland or make some inroads in terms of your investments, then today's video is the right spot for you. Make sure you stick around. Hello and namaste, my name is Nidhi Nagori and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time stopping by, thank you so much for doing so. And if you are a regular viewer, thanks for spending time with me yet again. I'm a finance professional, a digital creator, and also the CEO and founder of Globalogy. At Globalogy, our mission is simple. We believe in helping people move from anywhere to anywhere. So we help you move abroad. And to make your dreams come true, we have many custom solutions like job support service, direct job placement, some underrated work visas like job seekers that are offered in multiple countries, also some permanent residency pathways and some special pathways that are tough to explain on the screen and in a short video. But in short, wherever you are in whichever part of the world, we have a solution that works for you. So if you're thinking of moving abroad, check the description box and take a chance with Globalogy. And now let's talk about the topic for today, which is talking about how you can get 84,000 euros to invest or move to Ireland. And I'm going to segment this video in 3 sections. First, we're going to talk about what the opportunity is all about. How much will you get paid and all of that. Second, we're going to talk about eligibility. What really is the eligibility criteria? Can anyone in the whole world apply, etc. And third, we're going to talk about how you can use this to plan your move to Ireland. So if everything seems good, let's go to the screen record and check this particular opportunity out. First, this particular opportunity is called the Vacant Property Refurbishment Grant. I am, as you can see, on the Government of Ireland website, and this is by the Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage. This was actually updated in 2024 very recently. The interest in this particular program, I personally feel it's going to shoot up after the amendment that they made. We're going to talk about that later, but let me introduce this particular opportunity to you. It's a payment that you can get if you are turning a vacant house or a building into a permanent home or a rental property. So initially this was only applicable if you were making your own home, but in May 2024 they made a change. They made this also open to rentals. So if you were turning around a vacant property in Ireland and using it for rental, using it to make money, you would still get this cash. A grant of up to 50,000 euros is available. We'll come to the 84. I know that's what you're thinking, but this is the basic fund. So 50,000 is like the basic that you will get. Now, if the refurbishment costs exceed the standard grant, so just in case if your costs of refurbishment of making the property livable again, if that exceeds the 50,000, then you can get a top up of 20,000. So that's your 70,000 right there. And then in terms of qualification, to qualify for the grant, you must have proof of ownership or evidence of action, negotiations to buy that property, and then you must either live in the property or you must make it available for rent, and then you must have proof that the building has been or the property has been vacant for at least 2 years after it was built. So it does not have to be the completely rundown houses in Italy which are like 50, 100 years old. This also applies to properties that are vacant for say just 2 years. So they already have like some qualifying vacant properties in cities, towns and villages and rural parts of Ireland. Obviously it won't be in downtown Dublin because they don't need this there, but they already have a detailed list. We'll talk about all of that as well. You will also need a quotation in respect of the work proposed, an independent report confirming that it is, the property does need work to be done, and then any other supporting documentation. The total grant that's available for a property like this is 70,000 euros, and then you can apply through your local authorities. Now this is very basic, but they have some interesting stuff here that I want you to look at if you're considering applying for this. Documents like form, FAQs, scheme, etc. There's also a more detailed information guideline setup, which is citizens information. Before that, I'm sure you're going to ask, like, can you buy a property in Ireland? Can anyone buy a property in Ireland? So, well, pretty sure you can. Unlike Canada, Ireland does allow foreigners to come in and invest in property. And I know that because they have a golden visa, and you can definitely use this pathway also to make your move into Ireland. We'll talk about that in point number 3. All right, so this is a more detailed version of it. As you can see, this is also from the government website. Same thing, 50K and then 70K if it is, derelict. Now, you can get more if you are living on an offshore island, and then there's also an additional grant for expert conservation advice if you are refurbishing a farmhouse or something like that. There's a lot of FAQ again that you can read about. Similar stuff that we read on the previous website in terms of eligibility. Again, they must have been vacant for 2 years or more. It must have been built before 2008. You must own the property. You must live in it or make it available for rent. Tax clearance, all of that, property tax, all of that is done. Okay, so the 50 and 70 were clear about that. If you are living on an offshore island, you can get up to 84,000 euros to renovate a derelict building or up to 60,000 for a vacant property. The limits for how much you can get for each type of work is also increased by 20% if you are in any of these islands. So once you submit, say, an estimate, they might decide to give you more money. If you're doing it in an offshore island, which belongs to Ireland, obviously, then you can get 20% more for each of the work that's also done. The renovation costs more than the grant. You will have to pay for this. But in my reading, and I've gone to a lot of online portals like Reddit to get information to see what people are really spending and how is this program running, and I don't see people spending more than the 80,000 limit. But just in case you end up doing that, you will have to pay for it. Okay, here they also have a very nice table that gives you a lot of information. So there's demolition work and 50/70, same structural work, 50/70. Now, there's a lot of other stuff, internal completion like doors, frames, 7,000, external completion, doors, windows, 21,000, skirtings, roof completion, waterproof, painting, decorating, 10,500 euros even for that, not bad. Roof, 14,000, kitchen units, and then sanitary, necessary work on land, professional services for the work such as fees for surveys, etc. So 10% of the net construction cost or 14,000 euros, whichever is less. And then the maximum amount is based on a 2-story or a 3-story semi-detached home. Now let's talk about part number 2, which is eligibility and application. We already discussed the eligibility, but let's look at the application. So here's the application form. You can send it to the local authority, prove that the property is vacant, that you own the property, a quote for the work, basically all of this, which is explained in a lot of details. They will then review your application and documents, and they'll maybe ask, further questions. If they have any, then they're going to ask for all of that. They'll also arrange for a site visit, and then after that, they will give you a letter of approval. And then after that, you have 13 months to complete the work. Now, if you have, a contractor that you're using to get the work done, then you have to send the information about the contractor to local authority, and then you have to send your bank information so that they can pay. And you must also get tax clearance from revenue if your grant is over 10,000 euros. Now, you have to make sure that the work is done, it's completed, and then after that, the grant is paid. Now, just in case your application is not successful, then you can appeal the decision and within 3 weeks. Do note that you can also get a 5,000 top up if you have a traditional home that you want expert advice in terms of refurbishing on, and that's also available. Also, to get this particular one, there's a different application form and you must have to email it. As you can see, the current deadline has passed. This is only for the conservation grant, the 5,000 euro grant for this particular one, but they keep opening this in like a 3-month slot. So I'm pretty sure if you come back, say next month in October, you will be able to see some of the info here in terms of when you can apply. It should be like end of October-ish is when you can apply next. And then if you have any questions about just the conservation scheme, not the overall scheme, then you can send them an email. But if you have like questions on the overall scheme, then you can contact the local authorities directly. And then you can also contact the housing agencies on this particular vacancy campaign at housingagency.ie. So once again, don't get confused. There's also a contact us section here. You can like call them and stuff. Also, if you write an email to these guys, they can also help you understand if you're thinking of the right property and if you're taking the right steps towards it. Honestly, I do understand it can be slightly difficult to gauge, especially if you're not in Ireland. Okay, so let's talk about the segment number 3, which is what is the catch? Now, the first catch, I'm sure you've already guessed, is that you have to invest upfront. And you could use this as like an investment pathway and get to Ireland, and you could make a startup out of it. You could apply it in the STEP program, which is the Startup Entrepreneur Program, and you could come in that way. You don't need massive funding, but obviously there is an upfront minimum investment that you need to make. And I do understand that if you're not living in Ireland, it can be a bit of a hassle. So I would recommend first thing to do is maybe go to that email ID, the vacancy email ID that we had, just in case you're interested. Maybe get clearance on a property, identify a property, get clearance, make sure it's eligible for the grant, and then go ahead. And then after that, you can check out the startup program, which is the Startup Entrepreneur Program, which is not open to people from Russia and Belarus, but everybody else is eligible to apply. You must have the required 50,000 funding available. Of course, invested in business is also fine, and you can use this money to invest in a property a vacant property. Apart from this, you must be a person of good character, no criminal offenses, and then innovative business proposal is what you need. In terms of application fee, we're looking at an application fee of 350 euros. A lot of other information that they would need. You will definitely need to put in some time, especially if you're using this program. I'm sure there are a lot of other interesting pathways that you can also use, like the retirement program, the IIIP program, this program. So there are quite a few innovative ways, but you will have to put a one-on-one together to figure out if this is something that could potentially work for you. So this will need a lot of planning upfront. A YouTube video will simply not cut it. You might first want to start off by just going into maybe the subreddits, figuring out what people's lived experiences have been like. Following that, you can figure out what vacancies are available in terms of what are the properties that are available for the grant and how much is the maximum that you can get. And once you get approval for all of that, then I think you can also figure out this particular pathway. Do you want to use the startup entrepreneur route? Do you want to use the retirement route? Do you want to use the investment route? Quite a few different pathways that you can use to then move to Ireland. A lot of people from my reading have actually used this successfully outside of Ireland, especially have used this vacancy grant to get properties, refurbish them, and then put them on Airbnb. That's the big thing that a lot of people are doing. I don't think this rental situation will be continued for long, partly because there's been a boom in this particular field, since they announced the change in, I think, June. There's been a lot of people that have entered, especially foreign investors, who are now buying these houses and doing Airbnb out of it and basically making a killing, if that counts. On that note, this aspirational video has come to an end. I was trying to do a lot of khayali pulao in that, basically dreaming of clouds and, my feet on cloud 9, that kind of a thing. So honestly, in this video, I've just shared the research that I used and I consumed. And I don't know if I'm buying a property or not, but I'm hoping that one of you watching this video ends up doing that. If you found this video interesting, let me know in the comments below. There are so many underrated pathways and many of them are not as expensive as this, which I am happy to cover on my channel. So please let me know in the comment section what you think. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe because I help people move abroad. In general, that's the goal of being a creator. I've been an immigrant myself and I don't think there is an identity that I relate to as closely as being an immigrant. So definitely something that I look forward to doing every single day when I wake up. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please let me know in the comments what you thought about it. Do we want more of such videos covering different countries, interesting pathways? Would be happy to cover that. See you in my next video, and until I see you again, please, please, please make sure you take care of yourself. Stay safe. Namaste.